You have successfully joined the webcast. Please stand by. The meeting will begin shortly. You have successfully joined the webcast. Please stand by. The meeting will begin shortly. You have successfully joined the webcast. Please stand by. The meeting will begin shortly. You have successfully joined the webcast. Please stand by. The meeting will begin shortly. You have successfully joined the webcast. Please stand by. The meeting will begin shortly. You have successfully joined the webcast. Please stand by. The meeting will begin shortly. You have successfully joined the webcast. Please stand by. The meeting will begin shortly.
Good afternoon. My name is George Haggerty, and before I call this meeting to order, I will note for the record that I will serve as the acting chair for today's meeting. I now call to order the meeting of the directors of the New York Transportation Development Corporation for Tuesday, October 1st, 2024. I'd like to note for the record that this meeting is being webcast and that we welcome public comment on the items on our agenda. I will also note for the record that the public has been given the opportunity to comment on the agenda items by submitting their written comments to nytdc@esd.ny.gov by 5 p.m. yesterday, and no comments were received from the public concerning today's agenda items. The directors have received the relevant written materials in advance of today's meeting and are free to ask questions at any time. Before we begin the substantive portion of the meeting, I would like to ask the directors whether anyone has any potential conflict of interest with respect to today's agenda item. If so, please make an appropriate disclosure on the record at this time. We will then be sure that you may recuse yourself from any discussions or vote with regard to the item. Hearing none, our first and only order of business is the board authorization to perform certain acts in connection with the sale and delivery of the New York Transportation Development Corporation Special Facility Revenue Bonds, Senior Series 2024A Green Bonds, AMT Current Interest Bonds, JFK Airport Terminal 6 Redevelopment Project, and 2, New York Transportation Development Corporation Special Facilities Revenue Bonds Senior Series 2024B Green Bonds AMT Convertible Capital Appreciation Bonds JFK Airport Terminal 6 Redevelopment Project, and to take related actions. Matthew Bray will be presenting this item. Matt, when you're ready, please begin.
Thank you. Good afternoon, directors. Today, the board is asked to approve the operative provisions, sale terms, bond purchase agreement, related documents, and related actions in connection with the sale and delivery of obligations of the corporation consisting of, but not limited to, Special Facilities Revenue Bonds, Senior Series 2024A, Green Bonds, AMT Current Interest Bonds, JFK Airport Terminal 6 Redevelopment Project, and Special Facilities Revenue Bonds, Senior Series 2024B, Green Bonds, AMT Convertible Capital Appreciation Bonds, JFK Airport Terminal 6 Redevelopment Project, to be issued for the benefit of the borrower, JFK Millennium Partners, LLC. If all bonds cannot be issued as green bonds, the corporation may issue a third series of non-green bonds. The borrower has requested that the corporation issue the bonds to provide funds to refinance a portion of outstanding taxable term loans and of the Series 2022A bonds, to pay interest on the bonds and prior obligations, to pay a premium for one or more bond insurance policies or reserve fund sureties, to fund one or more debt service reserve funds and other reserve funds, to pay interest rate swap termination fees, and to pay costs of issuance. The bonds will be issued and secured under the indenture between the corporation and the Bank of New York Mellon as trustee, and will be special limited revenue obligations of the corporation payable from payments to be made by the borrower to the corporation under the building loan agreement, the project loan agreement, the Series 2024 building note, and the Series 2024 project note. For the administration of certain funds and accounts, the corporation will enter into an amended collateral agency and accounts agreement with the borrower, the senior collateral agent, the intercreditor agent, and the securities intermediary. As security for the payment of the borrower's obligations under the loan agreements and the Series 2024 notes, the borrower previously granted to the corporation and senior collateral agent a leasehold mortgage on the borrower's leasehold interest. The bonds will be further secured by certain monies and securities held by the trustee under the indenture. The corporation is a mortgagee to secure an exemption from the mortgage recording tax, and pursuant to the issuer assignment agreements, assigned its interest in the leasehold mortgages to the senior collateral agent. The corporation assigned its right, title, and interest under the loan agreements and the 2022 TDC notes to the senior collateral agent as security for the bonds. In order to further secure its obligations under the loan agreements and leasehold mortgages, the borrower granted an assignment of tenant leases and rents to the corporation and the senior collateral agent. The bonds are special limited revenue obligations of the corporation and are not payable from or secured by any property of the corporation other than the trust estate pledged under the indenture. The bonds are not a debt of the state of New York, the New York Job Development Authority, the New York State Urban Development Corporation, nor any other local development corporation, agency, or authority of the state, and none of these entities shall be liable for the bonds. The borrower has agreed to indemnify the corporation, the state, JDA, and ESD against certain liabilities, and to contribute any payments required to be made by the corporation relating to such liabilities. As part of the transaction, the corporation has caused to be prepared a preliminary official statement and will cause to be prepared an official statement, and will enter into a bond purchase agreement by and among the corporation, Goldman Sachs, on behalf of itself and the underwriters, and the borrower for the sale by the corporation and purchase by the underwriters of the bonds. The corporation is being asked to delegate authority to its officers to approve the maturities, prices, yields, accreted value, and other terms of the bonds. The bonds are expected to be issued as tax exempt, subject to AMT, and all or a portion are expected to be issued as green bonds and will be subject to optional and mandatory redemption in whole or in part at the option of the borrower. In accordance with the resolution, the board is requested to, 1, approve the terms and authorize the sale of the bonds. 2, approve the form and content of the bond purchase agreement and various other documents connected with the sale and delivery of the bonds. And 3, to authorize certain officers and employees to take all actions deemed necessary to accomplish final sale and delivery of the bonds. Thank you. Happy to answer any questions.
Thank you, Matthew. Are there any questions or comments from the directors with regard to the item? Okay. If not, I will entertain a motion for approval.
So moved.
Second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, thank you. The motion carries. There being no further business, may I have a motion to adjourn the meeting?
Motion.
Second.
Thank you. Thank you, everyone, for your participation in today's meeting. That's it.
Thanks, George. Good to see you.
Thank you.
See you guys. Thank you.
Okay. Yes, exactly.
Thanks, George.
Thanks, guys. Thanks, everyone. Thanks, Liz.
Thank you.
Say again? Apparently, people
Oh, yes.